Around the 7th century, long after kings had fallen in love with gold and silver, money quietly began to change its skin. Not in Rome, not in London, in a place far to the east, where metal was so heavy it slowed down the beating heart of trade. China. Close your eyes for a moment and imagine the sound of coins. Not one or two, thousands. Heavy copper and iron discs threaded on cords, clinking like chains of tiny bells with every step. Now imagine you are a merchant. You have bought silk, tea, porcelain. You want to send them to a distant city, over mountains and rivers and wild country. The problem is simple and brutal. To pay for big shipments, you don't need a handful of coins. You need sacks, chests, animal loads. Metal is honest, but metal is heavy. Picture a caravan road cut into the side of a mountain. Wind tears at the banners. Mules strain under the weight of wooden chests filled with coins. Every jolt, every bump in the path is a reminder. If bandits attack, they don't even need to guess where the real value is. They just go for the boxes that clink. You can almost hear their thoughts. Why are we dragging all this metal across the earth, when what we really need is trust? Somewhere in a crowded marketplace along this route, a small group of clever merchants try something different. They own strong, walled shops in several cities. Their names are known. Their reputations matter more than their lives. One day, a tired merchant staggers in. His animals are exhausted. Thieves have been prowling the road. He wants to travel light. The shopkeeper makes an offer. "Leave your heavy coins with me. I will keep them safe in my strong room. In return, I will write you this." He takes out a brush. He smooths a rectangle of tough, fibrous paper. In careful strokes, he writes a promise that anyone who brings this paper back to his shop will receive the same amount of metal he has just taken in. He signs. He seals. The traveler leaves without the weight of coins, only with a folded piece of paper tucked inside his robe. At first, these paper slips are just receipts, private IOUs, evidence that metal is waiting behind a wall. But something interesting happens on the road. The merchant reaches the next city. He wants to pay someone there. He doesn't have metal with him. He has a promise. He tries something bold. Instead of demanding coins from the original shopkeeper, he shows the paper to a man who knows that name, that seal, that reputation. The man pauses. He thinks. He knows he could, if he wished, make the long journey back and trade this paper for real metal. He also knows the amount written on it. So he shrugs, nods, and agrees. He accepts the paper as payment. Not because he loves paper, because he trusts that somewhere, behind walls and locks, there is metal waiting. Money, for the first time, has left its body. It has become a message, a portable promise that can fly ahead of the heavy coins resting in dark rooms. No one calls this paper money yet, but the idea has slipped out of the box. Now imagine you are one of the powerful men who run this system. You sit in your counting house. Behind you are strong doors and thick walls. Inside lie jars and chests full of coins. Outside, in the bustling city, people are handing your promises to each other. Not a few. Hundreds. Thousands. Pieces of paper with your seal move faster than caravans, faster than wagons, faster than boats. They are lighter than metal, harder to steal in bulk. And every time a new trader accepts one of your slips, it quietly confirms something. Your word is good. Your name is almost as solid as the metal itself. By now, you can probably feel the next step coming. If private merchants can turn heavy coins into flying promises, what happens when rulers notice? Walk with me into a large hall in a growing Chinese city. Officials in long robes sit behind lacquered tables. Petitions, tax records, and reports from distant provinces are stacked around them. On one scroll after another, the same complaint appears. The empire is vast. Trade is booming. But copper and iron coins are too heavy for the distances involved. People are hoarding metal. Ships and caravans strain under dead weight. And in the shadows, those private merchants with their paper promises are gaining power. The state does not like to share that kind of power. Slowly, carefully, officials begin to experiment. Instead of saying, "Bring us coins and we will give you receipts," they flip the logic. They begin to issue their own pieces of paper, promising payment in metal from state treasuries. Some are for large sums, used by big traders and tax collectors. They are stamped, numbered, decorated with intricate patterns that are hard to copy. Somewhere on each one is an invisible line of thought. This paper is as good as the metal we promise. Around this time, between the 7th and 11th centuries, without any loud announcement, something quietly outrageous has begun. Money is slipping from the clink of coins into the whisper of paper. Stand for a moment in that government printing room. You hear the soft slap of ink blocks against fresh sheets. You see officials hang note after note to dry on wooden racks. There are still coins in the vaults, of course, but more and more, what flows through the streets, over the roads, and across the rivers are promises, folded, stacked, tied together with string. On the surface, it looks like a simple convenience. Paper instead of metal, light instead of heavy. But under the surface, something deeper is happening. The question is changing from, "How much gold do you have?" to, "Whose promise do you trust?" Whoever controls the promises is starting to control something even bigger than coins and chests. They are beginning to control the rhythm of trade itself. For now, the paper notes still bow to metal. Each one is supposed to be a claim on real coins in a real treasury. But as more sheets are printed, as more hands touch them, as more markets rely on them, a dangerous thought starts to creep in. If people trust the paper on its own, do we really need the metal behind every single note? By the time paper promises have become normal in parts of China, that temptation is already taking root in the ink. At first, the rule is simple. For every note, there is metal. For every promise, something heavy and cold is locked in a room. Now imagine you are a tax collector in a busy river city. You used to drag home carts of coins. Men groaned under the weight. Bandits watched every bend in the road. Now, traders hand you stacks of notes, thin, folded, stamped with official marks. You count them, bundle them, lock them in a chest. Your work is faster, cleaner. The treasury is filling with paper. And somewhere above you, far away in the capital, someone notices. Picture a council of officials in a high hall. Maps of the empire spread on the table. Reports of drought, border wars, costly projects. Everyone wants money. But the metal in the vaults is limited. The paper, however, can be made. Quietly at first, then with growing confidence, the state begins to lean on the press. They issue notes for more than the metal they actually hold. People trust the paper, they say. The economy is growing. Trade will catch up. The coins will come. For a while, it works. Walk now through a prosperous market in a Song Dynasty city. Silk banners flutter. Vendors shout. Boats crowd the canals. In almost every hand, you see paper. A butcher folds a note into his sleeve. A tea seller knots a bundle and hides it in a box. A landlord counts rent in rectangles of ink, not coins. Life feels lighter. But you, standing in the middle of this, notice something odd. Last year, one note bought a basket of rice. This year, you need two. News starts to spread. Some officials are printing more notes than rules allow. Some regional treasuries are weak in metal but heavy in promises. Merchants begin to test each other's paper. Whose note is this? They ask. From which office? From which city? Good notes and bad notes pull apart. In the worst hit places, people hurry to turn their paper back into coins as fast as they can. But there is not enough metal for everyone. Prices rise. Grumbling grows. The same invention that once made trade faster and safer now feels like a trap. Stand, for a moment, in a printing room at dawn. Stacks of fresh notes lie drying on bamboo racks. The ink is still glossy. On the wall, someone has posted an official warning. Forging these notes is punishable by death. The state understands how fragile trust is. They can execute a counterfeiter. They can punish a rebel. But they cannot force people to believe that a piece of paper still holds the same power it did yesterday. Paper money has revealed its sharp edges. The ink cuts both ways, and the idea does not stay within one border. Far to the west, stories travel along dusty caravan routes. Traders and travelers hear rumors of a strange place where men make money from plant fibers and ink. Later, foreign visitors see the system up close and write in amazement. These rulers take the bark of trees, press it into sheets, print upon it, and demand that everyone treat it as money. For thousands of years, money was rooted in things you could touch: grain, cattle, metal. Now, in one empire, it has become something even more abstract: obedience. If the ruler's word holds, the notes hold. If faith in the ruler cracks, the notes flutter down like autumn leaves. The message drifts west. In Europe, there are no state banknotes yet. No great printing halls for money. But merchants there have the same old problem. They must drag coins across dangerous distances. So they invent something quieter: letters of credit, bills of exchange, private promises on parchment. A banker in one city writes a note that another banker in a distant city agrees to honor. A cloth seller in Florence can be paid in a piece of writing instead of a bag of coins. A spice trader in Venice can carry a folded document instead of a chest of silver. It is not yet full paper money, but the concept is drifting west. Now jump forward to a cold northern city in the 17th century. In a cramped office, a banker has the next idea. He already keeps coins for merchants. He already writes receipts. He notices those receipts starting to move from hand to hand like money, so he formalizes them. He creates pieces of paper with fixed amounts, special designs, a clear promise in ink. Bring this to my bank, and I will pay you in metal. People test it. It works. The paper circulates. Most customers stop asking for the metal at all. Across Europe, other bankers copy him. Kings and parliaments create banks of issue that print promises for whole nations. On each note, fine letters say, "I promise to pay." Gold and silver sleep in vaults. The paper does the walking. You already know the temptation that follows. If a little paper helps trade grow, why not more? For a while, no one worries. Then a rumor spreads. Does the bank really have enough gold for all these notes? Lines form. Doors shake. A run begins. On those days, everyone remembers. A banknote is only a promise. If it cannot be kept, it is only paper. After each scare, governments add rules. They demand reserves. They create central banks to rescue others in trouble. They swear to be careful with their ink. In the 20th century, the strain snaps. World wars, depressions, bursts of inflation, and sudden crashes teach a hard lesson. You cannot both tie every note to gold and print all the promises politics demands. Step by step, countries loosen, then cut their link to metal. Modern banknotes no longer whisper, "Turn me into gold." They simply say, in polite legal language, "I am money because the law says so, and because you all behave as if I am." Look at a note today. The portraits, the holograms, the shining strips. All of it is theater. Careful theater. Necessary theater. It is designed to make fraud difficult, yes. But it is also designed to make one idea feel natural. This thing is real. Even though, if you tear it, burn it, or lose it, no hidden pile of metal appears underneath. There is no chest of coins waiting with your name on it. There is only a system, a network of banks, laws, computers, and expectations. And even as cash gives way to cards, apps, and numbers on screens, one thing does not change. When people are afraid, they still run to ATMs and counters, wanting to feel money in their hands. Thin rectangles that cannot feed, warm, or heal, but that stand for something enormous and invisible. The hope that tomorrow will still accept them. That is the shocking history of paper money. Centuries of experiments in trust, power, and imagination. A long gamble that a promise, printed in ink, is worth our life's work.